Okay, in this video we're going to be looking at KDE Panel configuration and particularly customizing your desktop in KDE. Now for this particular video we're going to be using Kubuntu 12.04 LTS. This is the beta 1 version, so this is a bit of a preview of what you can expect in April. So first thing we're going to do is to unlock our desktop. So to avoid making accidental changes, by default KDE locks the desktop. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to this desktop cache in the top right hand corner, click on it, and then choose the option Unlock Widgets. Okay, and immediately you can see we get some extra options here. One at the top there being Add Panel. So I'm just going to click on that and add a new panel. Okay, I get two choices when I do that. Default panel, which will basically make a copy of the KDE panel down at the bottom, or empty panel. So I'm going to start with an empty panel and see where we go from there. So you can see here, just get rid of this escape menu off here, that it's created a separate panel up here on the top of the screen. Because the original KDE panel is down at the bottom, so you can create up to 4 of these panels and place them around the screen as you like. So by default it goes up in the top line of the screen, your new panel. So we have a new panel. Next thing we need to do is to add some widgets to it. So I'm going to click this, the cache for the actual new panel, and I'm going to click on Add Widgets. And immediately you see I get a list of the available widgets here, and it's a scrollable list. I can just move it across and back till I find the applications that I want. So assuming I find something that I want here, so for instance I want the launcher icon here, all I need to do is click on it and drag it over to the panel that I wanted in, then release the mouse button. I won't worry too much about position at the moment. Let's take the clock as well. I'll put that up there, and one more I think. Let's just scroll to the right a bit. Oh yeah, we'll have the calculator, so I'll put that up there. So there we go, we've added 3 widgets to this panel. I'm quite happy with that, and just one thing to mention before we leave the widget configurator here is that if you have a need that's not met by any of these down here, there is the option here to go to the web and get third-party supplied widgets in order to put them onto your desktop. I'm not going to do that now, so I'm just going to click on this X, and there we have our panel with our 3 icons on here. However, it is rather ugly, so I think what we'll do is we'll click again on the cache and we'll configure it slightly. First off, I'm not really keen on having it at the top of the screen here, and if I want to move it around to one of the other screen edges, I can click on this screen edge button here and drag it down to the bottom, to the left, or to the right. I'm going to put it on the right hand side, I think. So I just release the mouse button and it's locked now to the right hand side of the screen. So we've got it in the position we want, but it's taking up a lot of the screen here for only 3 icons. So another thing we can do is we can size it up and down here. So again I'm going to click back on the cache here, and I'm going to pick up this margin button and drag it down. So I'm going to put it kind of in the middle of the screen here, I think, and I'm going to pick up this bottom margin and move it up. Okay, so that makes it the panel a lot smaller, and I can obviously move it up and down on the screen if I want it, but I'm going to leave it in the middle there. So that's great, but those icons are kind of small. So if I want to resize it width-wise, I can click on this width button and drag it out to the size I want it. So there you go, that's about big enough so that I can see the calculator and the clock nicely. Okay, I release the mouse button and it locks it into that position. So I'm just going to click on the X button to close down my edit there, and here's my customized panel over here. It's got 3 icons: the launcher into the main menu, an analog clock which when I click on it gives me a calendar, and I've got my calculator here so I can do simple maths if I can find the symbols. So this panel is obviously always present on the screen, but if you actually want it to hide and just to display when you get your mouse into that particular area of the screen, you can do that. So again I'm going to go back into the cache here, click on more settings this time, and here I can change it to auto hide the window, so it only appears when I move the mouse over that particular area. I can say that it's always visible, which is the default on the desktop, and we can say for instance that it displays in front of Windows or Windows display over the panel. So at the moment I'm going to change it to auto hide here. Quite happy with that. I'm going to click it off, and as you can see my panel then disappears until I move my mouse into that area, and then it displays. See, I can then use those applications, and when I move my mouse away from it, it's gone. So you can also customize, of course, the standard KDE panel down here. Again, exactly the same way of doing it. Click on Add Widgets, and I can pick up an application. Let's see if we can find a different one down here. That's quite nice. Oh, hardware temperature. Let's pop that down. Let's see if we can pop it in there. There you go. It's not really quite as nice looking as I thought it was, but there you go. So new widget on there, and indeed you don't actually have to drag your widget to the panel. You can actually take it, let's take this hardware info one, and drag it and drop it onto the desktop here. Some of these widgets allow you to rotate them and obviously move them around exactly where you want them and drop them on the screen. So if you actually want your icon to be rotated at 45 degrees in the middle of the screen, you can do so. Okay, if you actually want to change the background wallpaper, you can right click on here and you can go to desktop settings, and here you can obviously load your own image files in here and choose them. You can change obviously how you want them displayed. You can have them tiled, centered, etc. Same as every other desktop. You can get new wallpapers from the web if you wish. Another neat action is you can change the action of the mouse buttons and make them do different things. So you can change these to be switch activity, etc., etc., which is quite nice. One last thing to mention before we go is once you've got your desktop exactly how you like it, so let's drag a few other things on here. Let's see if we can find a more colourful window than this. Let's just pull it down here. System load viewer, that one's a nice one. Let's pop it on there. There you go. Which is quite nice. You can also obviously move them around to where you like. And if you click on them, you can also resize your icon here by clicking on this and dragging it out. Same on here. Click on this, I can make that longer and wider. And once you're happy with your desktop and you've got it exactly how you like it, go up to the desktop cache again, click it, and this time choose Lock Widgets. Okay, so what you'll see now is that all the caches of the panels, etc., and all the editing parts of the icons here have all disappeared now. So you can't make any changes until you go back to the desktop cache and then unlock widgets, and then that will allow you to change your settings once again. So if I come near here, you can see I've got this edit band again. So I hope that gives you a flavour of the sort of configuration that you can do with the KDE desktop. It's very powerful, and certainly if you actually want to customize your interaction with Kubuntu or Fedora, etc., then KDE is definitely worth a look. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.